Hello audience. The Alfa Romeo Giulia is more than just a car, it is a statement of passion, heritage, performance, and design philosophy that has defined the Italian brand for over a century. When you think of Alfa Romeo, what comes to mind is not just transportation but emotion, character, and charisma, and in the modern age, few vehicles capture that essence better than the Giulia. This is a car that manages to be both a work of art and a high-performance machine, one that sits at the intersection of Italian beauty and engineering excellence. To understand the Alfa Romeo Giulia, one must look beyond the specifications and numbers and instead dive into the story it tells, the emotions it awakens, and the culture it represents. The Giulia is the heart and soul of Alfa Romeo in the 21st century, and its presence on the road is a reminder that driving is not merely about getting from point A to point B, but about the experience, the feeling, and the passion that comes with every turn of the wheel. When Alfa Romeo introduced the Giulia, it was a rebirth of sorts, a revival of a nameplate that had historical significance for the brand. The original Giulia of the 1960s and 1970s was known as one of the finest sports sedans of its time, offering a perfect balance between performance, handling, and style. It was a car that embodied the Italian approach to motoring, elegant yet functional, thrilling yet practical, sophisticated yet approachable. That original Giulia had a racing spirit, a DNA rooted in Alfa Romeo's motorsport legacy, and it became a cult classic admired by enthusiasts worldwide. Bringing back the Giulia name in the modern era was a bold move by Alfa Romeo, but it was necessary to remind the world of what the brand stands for, and to position itself once again as a serious player in the competitive premium sports sedan segment dominated by German marques such as BMW, Mercedes-Benz, and Audi. The modern Giulia was launched in 2015, and it instantly turned heads. The design, crafted by the Alfa Romeo Centro Style Design Center, was unmistakably Italian, exuding curves, sharp lines, and proportions that made it look athletic and elegant at the same time. Unlike the more clinical approach of German sedans, the Giulia's design was emotional, with a front fascia dominated by the iconic triangular Scudetto grille, flanked by sleek headlights that gave it a predatory stance. The car looked alive, as if it were ready to pounce, and that's what set it apart from the crowd. The rear end was equally attractive, with strong shoulders, stylish taillights, and an overall stance that screamed performance. It was not a design that tried to blend in, it was one that demanded attention, and that is quintessentially Alfa Romeo. But Alfa Romeo knew that in order to compete in the modern luxury sports sedan segment, design alone was not enough. The Giulia had to deliver in terms of performance, driving dynamics, and technology. To achieve this, Alfa Romeo built the Giulia on a brand new platform called the Giorgio architecture. This was a rear-wheel drive platform, a significant departure from Alfa's more recent front-wheel drive offerings, and it was designed with performance at its core. The engineers obsessed over weight distribution, achieving a perfect 50-50 balance that ensured agility and control in corners. They used lightweight materials such as aluminum and carbon fiber to reduce weight and improve rigidity, resulting in a car that was both nimble and strong. The suspension setup was designed to provide sharp handling without compromising comfort, and the steering was tuned to be quick, direct, and full of feedback, giving the driver a sense of connection to the road that few competitors could match. The Giulia lineup offered a range of engines to suit different buyers, from efficient four-cylinder units to the fire-breathing twin-turbocharged V6 found in the range-topping Quadrifoglio. The base versions of the Giulia featured a 2.0-liter turbocharged four-cylinder engine producing impressive power, delivering both performance and efficiency. It was smooth, responsive, and paired with an 8-speed automatic transmission that shifted with precision and speed. This setup allowed the Giulia to be competitive against rivals like the BMW 3 Series and Mercedes-Benz C-Class, but it was the Quadrifoglio that truly put Alfa Romeo back on the map. The Giulia Quadrifoglio, often simply referred to as the Giulia QV, was a masterpiece of engineering. Under its sculpted hood lay a 2.9-liter twin-turbocharged V6 engine developed with input from Ferrari engineers. This engine produced over 500 horsepower, allowing the Giulia Quadrifoglio to sprint from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just over 3.5 seconds and reach a top speed of over 190 miles per hour. These were supercar numbers packed into a practical four-door sedan. But what truly made the Quadrifoglio special was not just its raw speed, but the way it delivered that performance. The engine sang with a distinctly Italian note, throaty and emotional, reminding you of Alfa Romeo's racing heritage every time you pressed the accelerator. The chassis was finely tuned to handle all that power with poise and precision, and features like torque vectoring, adaptive suspension, and aerodynamic enhancements made the Giulia Quadrifoglio not only fast in a straight line but also incredibly capable on twisty roads and racetracks. In fact, the Giulia Quadrifoglio set a Nürburgring lap record for a production sedan when it was first introduced, cementing its place as one of the finest performance sedans in the world. Inside, the Giulia continued to impress. The cabin was designed with the driver in mind, blending luxury with sportiness. The driving position was perfect, with supportive seats, a well-designed steering wheel, and controls that were intuitive and focused on driving. Materials such as leather, aluminum, and carbon fiber adorned the interior, giving it a premium feel, while technology such as infotainment systems, digital displays, and driver assistance features ensured it was modern and competitive. However, unlike some of its rivals that overloaded their cabins with excessive screens and buttons, the Giulia kept things relatively simple and driver-focused, staying true to the Alfa Romeo philosophy of prioritizing the driving experience above all else. What made the Giulia stand out most, though, was the intangible factor, the way it made you feel. Driving a Giulia, whether it was the base model or the Quadrifoglio, was always an event. The steering communicated every nuance of the road, the chassis felt alive beneath you, and the car seemed to encourage spirited driving. It wasn't just about speed or comfort, it was about connection. Alfa Romeo has always believed in making cars with a soul, and the Giulia was proof of that philosophy. While many competitors chased perfection through clinical precision, Alfa Romeo chased passion, and the result was a car that stirred the emotions in a way few others could. The Giulia was also a statement of Alfa Romeo's ambition on the global stage. For years, the brand had been largely absent from the North American market, focusing instead on Europe. But with the Giulia, Alfa Romeo returned to the US with confidence, determined to re-establish itself as a serious competitor to the likes of BMW, Mercedes, Audi, Lexus, and Jaguar. The Giulia's blend of performance, style, and heritage gave it an edge, and while sales figures may not have matched the giants of the industry, the car succeeded in putting Alfa Romeo back into conversations among enthusiasts and buyers alike. Of course, no Alfa Romeo story would be complete without acknowledging the challenges. The brand has long been associated with passion and performance but also with questions about reliability and long-term durability. The Giulia faced scrutiny in this regard, as some owners reported issues with electronics and build quality. However, for many Alfa enthusiasts, these quirks were part of the charm. Owning an Alfa Romeo was never about choosing the most rational option, it was about choosing a car that made you feel something every time you looked at it or drove it. And in that regard, the Giulia delivered in spades. The symbolism of the Quadrifoglio, the four-leaf clover emblem that adorned the high-performance versions of the Giulia, also carried deep meaning. This symbol dates back to Alfa Romeo's racing heritage in the 1920s, when driver Ugo Sivocci painted a four-leaf clover on his race car for good luck. Tragically, Sivocci later died in a crash while driving a car that did not bear the clover, and from that day on, the Quadrifoglio became a symbol of performance and good fortune for Alfa Romeo's racing and high-performance cars. On the Giulia Quadrifoglio, that emblem was more than just a badge, it was a reminder of Alfa Romeo's deep roots in motorsport and the emotional connection between man, machine, and destiny. The Alfa Romeo Giulia, then, is not simply a competitor in the luxury sports sedan market, it is a cultural icon, a rolling piece of Italian art that embodies the very essence of driving passion. It is a car that defies logic and appeals to the heart. It is a reminder that in a world increasingly dominated by SUVs, crossovers, and electric vehicles, there is still room for a beautiful, performance-driven sedan that puts emotion first. Whether you admire it for its design, crave it for its performance, or respect it for its heritage, the Giulia is a car that leaves a lasting impression. Even as the automotive industry moves toward electrification and autonomy, the Giulia serves as a testament to why we fell in love with cars in the first place. It is a celebration of speed, style, and soul, and its place in automotive history is secure as one of the most important models in Alfa Romeo's modern era. For enthusiasts, the Giulia is not just a car you drive, it is a car you feel, a car you connect with, and a car that becomes a part of your life. And that, ultimately, is what makes it truly special. The Alfa Romeo Giulia is a car that continues to grow on you the more time you spend with it, and that is perhaps its greatest strength. Many modern cars are engineered to perfection but lack character, while the Giulia seems to thrive on being something you discover layer by layer. At first glance, it catches your eye with its beauty, but once you drive it, you realize there is depth in the way it moves, the way it reacts, and the way it connects to you as a driver. That is why so many enthusiasts who have spent time behind the wheel of the Giulia describe it as a car that feels alive. There's a pulse to it, something organic, something mechanical yet emotional at the same time. Every detail on the Giulia has been carefully considered to enhance that sense of connection. The steering, for example, is among the sharpest and most communicative in the segment, far quicker and more responsive than most of its rivals. It doesn't feel artificial or overly assisted. Instead, it feels natural, almost telepathic, responding to your inputs instantly and allowing you to place the car exactly where you want it. The suspension tuning is another example of Alfa Romeo's brilliance. Even in the high-performance Quadrifoglio, the ride is surprisingly comfortable when you need it to be, soaking up imperfections in the road without compromising stability. Switch it into its more aggressive driving modes, however, and the car transforms, stiffening up, sharpening its reflexes, and reminding you that it was engineered with racetracks in mind. Driving modes in the Giulia are controlled by Alfa Romeo's DNA system, which stands for dynamic, natural, and advanced efficiency, with the Quadrifoglio adding an extra race mode. Each setting changes the character of the car, adjusting throttle response, steering, suspension, and transmission behavior. In natural mode, the car feels composed and easygoing, perfect for daily driving or long journeys. In dynamic, it becomes more eager, more playful, ready to tackle winding roads. In advanced efficiency, it prioritizes fuel economy and smoothness, showing that even a performance sedan can be practical. But it's in race mode, available only on the Quadrifoglio, where the Giulia shows its wild side, unleashing the full fury of its engine, sharpening every aspect of its handling, and even dialing back electronic aids to give the driver maximum control. It's this versatility that makes the Giulia so appealing. It can be civilized when you want it to be, but at the flick of a switch, it becomes a pure driver's machine. The sound of the Giulia is another part of its magic. The base engines have a sporty growl, but the Quadrifoglio's twin-turbo V6 produces a soundtrack that is addictive and unmistakably Italian. From the burble at idle to the sharp bark under acceleration and the crackles on overrun, the Giulia speaks to you in a language only a true enthusiast can understand. It's not just noise, it's music, the kind of sound that makes you roll down the windows just to hear it echo against the buildings or mountains around you. Many cars today are criticized for losing their soul because of artificial sound enhancements or muted exhausts, but the Giulia, especially in Quadrifoglio form, embraces its identity proudly and unapologetically. What also sets the Giulia apart is its weight. In a segment where cars are becoming heavier with each new generation due to safety requirements, technology, and luxury features, Alfa Romeo worked hard to keep the Giulia light. The use of aluminum in the suspension, the hood, the doors, and even carbon fiber in the Quadrifoglio's driveshaft and hood in some configurations, helps keep the weight down and the balance precise. This dedication to lightweight construction makes the Giulia feel nimble and agile, traits that are vital in a car designed to be fun to drive. It's a philosophy rooted in racing, where every kilogram matters, and Alfa Romeo has transferred that racing mindset directly into the Giulia. For the driver who loves history, the Giulia carries with it a sense of continuity with Alfa Romeo's glorious past. It pays homage to the classic Giulia of the 1960s while also embracing modern technology. You can feel echoes of Alfa Romeo's racing triumphs, from the days when it dominated Formula One in the early 1950s to its countless victories in touring car championships. This heritage is not just a marketing tool, it is woven into the DNA of the car itself. The badge on the grille, with its red cross and serpent emblem, is a reminder of a brand that has always put passion above mere practicality. Even in a modern context, the Giulia dares to be different. Where many of its rivals chase trends, Alfa Romeo takes risks. It doesn't conform to the norm of what a German luxury sedan should be, instead, it defines its own path, one that is distinctly Italian. That independence is what makes it so appealing to a certain kind of buyer. The type of person who doesn't want to blend into the crowd, who values individuality and emotion over conformity and predictability. Owning a Giulia is almost like joining a secret club, one where the members share a deep appreciation for the artistry of driving. And while the automotive world is moving toward electrification, the Giulia has already hinted at an electric future. Alfa Romeo has plans to introduce electrified models, and while purists may worry that this will dilute the brand's character, there is confidence that Alfa will find a way to bring its passion into the electric era. After all, the essence of Alfa Romeo has never been tied only to the type of engine it uses, but to the way the car makes you feel. If that feeling can be preserved in an electric Giulia, then the legacy will live on in a new form. The Alfa Romeo Giulia is, therefore, not just a car, it is an experience, an expression of Italian culture, design, and engineering. It captures the joy of driving in a way that few modern cars manage to do, and it stands as proof that even in a world of conformity, there will always be room for individuality, artistry, and passion on four wheels. For anyone who has ever doubted the relevance of Alfa Romeo in the modern age, the Giulia is the answer. It is proof that the brand still knows how to make cars that stir the soul, ignite the senses, and remind us why we fell in love with cars in the first place. Thanks my lovely peoples.